Perfect. Perfect. Perfect.
What is going on, everybody? RB here. Welcome back to Philly Take with RB. You already know what to do. Go ahead and smash that like button for me. Hit that subscribe if you're new and hit that little teeny tiny notification bell so you're instantly notified whenever I upload or go live. Today we are back the afternoon after the Sixers drop a surprising, embarrassing one to the no-men Portland Trailblazers by a final score of 121-105. The Sixers dropped to 16-7 on the season, but still lead the Eastern Conference, but they dropped their second one at the Wells Fargo Center. And, you know, the first home game that we probably should have won here. But, you know, some Sixers fans apparently think the world is over. They think the season's over. We are going to talk about it all. There is certainly a lot to dive into. But first and foremost, before we do that, I encourage you all, if you have not yet, please go ahead and check out Philly Take with RB on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Follow me, subscribe, leave a rating and a review. Help me grow this channel and this brand on multiple platforms. Thank you guys so much. And like I had promised, we're going to read some of the reviews today. You guys have been showing a lot of love. You were definitely showing a lot of support here on Apple Podcasts. If I don't read yours today, we will cover it in the next one or two episodes, whatever we do. So if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, shout out to you. The first review we have here is from Minto Broadbelt. Says Philly Take has one of the best Philly sports podcasts. I highly recommend this to people who like Philly sports. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Next, we have my girl who says RB is such a great content creator, not just for Philly, but for all sports teams. Love his work. So objective and down to earth. Thank you so much. I love you too. Lucas Holman, my man, says great content creator. I would totally recommend him to any Philly sports fan. He's a funny person and has great content. You can rely on him to bring the most fire and honest takes and very consistent with his work. Lucas, you're not lying, my man. Thank you so much. My dude Brian Santiago says Fire Podcast provides great Sixers content and never shies away from the truth. I'm glad that you said that, Brian, because we are going to spit the truth today. And, you know, we can't shy away from it. We can't shy away from it. We'll read two more here. Shout out to Wicked Hagfishes. Says RB is great. He's the go-to guy for honest Philly sports talk. Man always keeps it real. Thank you so much. And our last one for today, again, if we did not read yours, we will definitely get it within the next couple episodes because we have a very interesting episode coming out maybe Monday or Tuesday. So be on the lookout. We'll hit the rest of them then. Jonah Lynn says this channel is the #1 Philly sports channel out there. Of course, has the best hot takes. Channel is the truth with honest opinions, and I highly recommend it. Make sure to hit that subscribe and leave a 5-star rating. If there were a 10-star option, I'd do it. Jonah, you win, man. Thank you so much for the great review. Philadelphia 76ers obviously drop an embarrassing one. There are a lot of takeaways, but at the same time, we know the Blazers didn't have Lillard. They didn't have McCollum. They didn't have Zach Collins. They didn't have Nasir Little. They didn't have Nurkic. They didn't have really anybody. But guys like Gary Trent and Carmelo and all these boys, Robert Covington, came out here and played well against the Philadelphia 76ers. I said before the game started yesterday, by the way, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, we do live play-by-play commentaries for every game, so be sure to come out to YouTube because those are exclusive to that platform, so be sure to come and check it out. But we do play-by-plays, and I said before yesterday's game that, you know, I just wanted to get past this game. I know we would maybe potentially overlook it a little bit, kind of like we did before we played the Lakers against the Pistons. And it just happened. It was one of those games. The Blazers were making everything. The Sixers seemed to not be able to make anything. And it was a bad loss. You can't excuse it, but after the game and during the game as well, Sixers Twitter was going berserk. They were imploding. There was volcanoes everywhere. It seemed like everything was burning down. And I think that is a huge overreaction. Now, we have to start with one of the big reasons why that was happening, and that is this whole Ben Simmons thing. Now, listen, before we get into this, I want to say this loud and clear. Obviously, you can see I got this shirt on here, Ben and Joel. These are my guys. As a Ben supporter and a Ben stan, I have to admit that Ben Simmons fanboys kingdom is becoming one of the worst, not just in the city, but maybe in the NBA. I mean, it is getting so bad at this point. We're about to talk about it. I have to get this off my chest. But let me just say this. Ben Simmons brings a ton of value to your team. I love the guy. He was a #1 overall pick. I've supported him since that day. We paid him big money. I want to see him go out here, and overall, I want to see him impact this team and help us win. And he does that. He brings a lot of value to your team in different areas. Now, maybe not exactly what we expected, but he does bring a lot of value. But getting to this game yesterday, the Ben Simmons fanboys came crawling out of their holes. They came crawling out of their cellars. They came crawling out of everywhere, and they were going berserk on Twitter. They were saying some outrageous things. They were saying that if we had Ben Simmons, we would have easily won this game. They were saying things about Joel Embiid. I mean, it was absolutely nuts. Let's get this straight. The Philadelphia 76ers, would Ben Simmons have helped this team yesterday on defense? Absolutely. Absolutely, we missed his defense. Would Ben Simmons have helped assisted some of these shooters and got them more space? Absolutely, he would have. Would Ben Simmons' presence help a guy like Tobias Harris be able to create more space and not have such a tough matchup? Potentially, yes. Yes, Ben Simmons helps. He impacts areas of the game and makes the game easier for some of these other players. But for Ben Simmons fanboys to sit up here and act like if Ben Simmons was playing, this is an automatic win. Simmons automatically puts up 20. Simmons automatically makes these shooters knock down shots. You're telling me that if Ben Simmons played this game, Danny Green, instead of going 1 for 5, has, 6 threes made. How do you know that? Danny Green is the most inconsistent player on the team. One night we love him, one night we absolutely hate him. Seth Curry had no points yesterday, shot the ball 1 time. People are coming and trying to tell me if Ben Simmons is here, Danny and Seth are going to make their shots. Come on now. The night before against the Charlotte Hornets, Seth Curry had no points. He looks like a different man. We're going to talk about him later. So the night before he had no points. Did Ben Simmons help him then? Come on, man. I mean, we have to wake up. And the worst thing of it all is the Ben fanboys coming out and saying, oh, now there is a different standard because Joel Embiid could not lead this team to a win without Ben Simmons on the floor, yet we get mad when Ben Simmons can't lead this team without Joel Embiid on the floor. Do you know how idiotic that sounds? I mean, it's just so bad. People are referencing me to the Detroit Pistons game where we were upset with Ben Simmons. In the Detroit Pistons game before the Lakers, which we also overlooked, and it was a bad team performance. Guess what? Ben Simmons had 11, 4, and 4, was early in foul trouble, and missed a chunk of the game because of that. Joel Embiid last night had 37 points. What else did you want the man to do? I'm starting to see why people view us this way, why people view this fan base this way, because it's not even us versus other fan bases sometimes. It's us versus ourselves. It's us versus ourselves. And the level of delusion needs to stop, man. It needs to stop. It's okay to criticize any one of your players and want to see them be great and live up to their potential, man. That's an okay thing. On to the next thing. The Sixers lost this game because they didn't play with energy. They overlooked this game. They didn't play well. They didn't come out with assertiveness. No guys could get open, and when they were missing open shots. Joel Embiid had, at one point in this game, 23 out of 25 points that the Sixers had in a certain stretch. Joel Embiid had 31 at halftime, and that was after the biggest scare, which, by the way, is my biggest takeaway of this game. My 2 biggest takeaways is that Joel Embiid is okay, and number 2, that we let up 40 points in 1 quarter. But Joel Embiid being okay is the main story for me. Thank God he's all right. We need the MVP on this team. And at one point, like I said, he had 23 out of 25. The second quarter, he was just going off. He wanted it every possession, and he was knocking down. And then even after a huge scare, he puts up 31 in the first half in 19 minutes. Joel Embiid was the main anchor of this game, but nobody else could follow in his footsteps. Like I said, our energy was bad. The Sixers didn't even make a three-pointer in this game until the middle of the third quarter. We didn't make a three in the first half. It was one of those nights. It's okay. We have to let it go. And the main reason we have to let it go is because, like I said, we overlooked this game. It was one of those trap games, and the Portland Trailblazers played hard. Some of their role players, I mean, look, they played hard. I give them credit, but look, you got guys like CJ Ellaby putting up 15 off the bench. CJ who? You got Anthony Simmons. Anthony Simmons putting up 14 off the bench. You got Melo cooking us. I expect it from Melo, but a 22 is a lot from him. You got Gary Trent with 24 hitting step backs. It's just one of those games, and it happens, man. It just happens. But we let up 40 in the third quarter. It was actually tied at halftime, and I was confident since we hadn't hit any three-point shots. But the main thing to me was our pick-and-roll defense. It's been an issue all year, and it just has not stopped, and it's getting brutal at this point. Doc Rivers obviously didn't have his best game. I didn't think the adjustments were the best. I didn't think he made any defensive adjustments like he usually does. I thought we might have either gone to a zone. I thought we might have switched some matchups. But it's kind of like we kept going through the same flow, and, you know, this was a sloppy game, not only for the players, but for Doc Rivers as well. I wanted to see some adjustments. I wanted to see that spark plug, but I don't know, maybe we just didn't have it. But 40 points in one quarter is unacceptable. And if we continue to allow these guys to come around screens and get wide open shots from the elbow, it's going to continue to haunt us. I'm surprised that that aspect has not been fixed this entire season. It needs to get better. It really does. In addition to Joel Embiid, everybody else was bad. This was Tobias Harris's worst game of the season, maybe since the opener. Tobias finished with 12 points. He had 11 rebounds and 5 assists, but 12 points can't cut it. 5 for 14 from the field. In a night where you didn't have Ben Simmons, who it obviously makes the game easier for Tobias and impacts us. Toby needed to step up, but he was trying to create his own off the dribble. He just could not knock down shots. Now, I'm not going to go off the limb and say Tobias isn't an all-star now. He's downsloping. No, it was one bad game. I want to see how Toby rebounds from it. But overall, he's having a great season, and he's doing what he can. He's doing what he can. Needed to be better last night. He'll take it upon himself. He was pissed. He was complaining a little bit to the refs. Wasn't really getting any calls. I did want to see him be more aggressive. And in addition to Embiid's 37, I thought he had a couple situations. There was one where he tried to pass it back out to Shake Milton with like 2 seconds on the shot clock. He tried to throw it to Tyrese Maxey, and it went out of bounds. And it just wasn't solid. There were a few bad turnovers by Joel Embiid, not really passing out as swift as we have seen. I think the Sixers had like 5 or 6 turnovers in the first half. They ended with 18, so it was definitely very sloppy in the second half, and that has to be improved. Toby's going to have to be better, and I think he will when Ben Simmons is back in the lineup. Hopefully Ben Simmons, his calf tightness doesn't keep him out for a while, you know? Like I said, no threes at the half. Danny Green had 1 3. He hit the first one of the game, but him and Seth Curry, they just do not really look good at all. I actually put a Twitter poll. I'm going to pull it up right now. The Twitter poll was from about an hour ago, has 63 votes, and I asked, do we trust Danny Green and Seth Curry to be consistent every night come playoff time? And 54% say yes and 46% say no. So it's very close. You guys can let me know down below in the comments, what do you think? Because this is going to be a main issue of this team. Like I said, when Seth Curry and Danny Green and the shooters are not on, what do? We rely on our stars. Embiid's going to get a ton of attention. Will Ben continue to be aggressive? Because, you know, sometimes he steps up and he's very aggressive, and sometimes he just tries to find the open shooters. Will Tobias be able to be consistent? Or do we have the shot creator we need? But more importantly, man, like Danny Green and Seth Curry, he looks a lot different. I'm not all the way out. There's fans saying to trade him already. It's ridiculous. ridiculous. It's every night. You know, people want to trade this guy and that guy. I'm going to give Seth Curry a little more time to see. But right now, he's in a terrible stretch. Ever since he came back from the virus, he does not look the same. So if this continues for, 3-4 more games, it's going to be very concerning. And Danny Green, I think we just have to accept what he is. Some nights, like I said, he's your favorite, and some nights you just hate him. But anyway, that was very close. I'm interested to see how these guys continue to progress, because in the playoffs, in the half-court set, when defenses are tight and there's a lot of pressure on the perimeter, what are we going to do if those guys have nights where they both go 0 for 5? You know what I mean? It's definitely interesting to think about. The other thing I wanted to say is we are going to need, I think we're going to need a veteran wing piece off the bench, maybe, a 30-year-old vet, a guy who can put up 10 a game, because our bench right now is iffy as well. It is. Shake Milton had 12 last night and Maxey had 15, but don't let it fool you. Those were a lot of points in garbage minutes. Tyrese Maxey and Isaiah Joe, I feel really bad because they're very promising rookies. I'm not saying they're done by any stretch. That was another Sixers thing, saying Maxey was done. But those guys, as soon as others came back, they got really just pushed to the side and taken out of the rotation. I don't think that was smart by Doc Rivers. I think you should have let those young guys keep riding with the hot hand. Isaiah Joe came in last night. He hit a couple threes in garbage time. Maxey, like I said, in garbage time, but in the crucial minutes. And when Maxey has gotten minutes, he came in the first quarter. He missed a three, didn't even hit the rim, and he just doesn't look the same, and it sucks because we need that kind of spark plug. We need that production from those guys, and I thought they were going to be able to become rotational players this year. Now, maybe it's going to be, a little bit of a learning curve, but I think we're going to need a wing piece off the bench that's going to be able to come in, know his role, and get his 10 to 15 points a night. I do. Shake Milton's been a little iffy as well. He had 12, like I said, but Shake Milton has been iffy ever since, I don't know, maybe the Boston game, the Indiana game. Maxey really hasn't had a good game in 4 to 5 games when it has mattered. Furkan Korkmaz got the start last night. He went 5 for 14. He had 10 points, I think, in the first 5 minutes. And then he couldn't get anything going the rest of the game because they adjusted to him. I don't know how, confident I am in Furkan Korkmaz the rest of the way. But we'll see. And Dwight Howard, 2 points and 2 rebounds. It really sucks because I love Dwight Howard as a person. I love his personality. I think his impact being, one of the best in the game at one time is really good and beneficial for Joel. But Dwight Howard, ever since the first few games of the season, with a couple exceptions, the man can't make a layup. He can't make a dunk. There's an easy alley-oop. I think it was from Shake or Furkan, and he tried to throw it down, and he couldn't even make an alley-oop. It's crazy, man. And that was another takeaway. Our offensive rebounding was pitiful. We got out-rebounded on the offensive glass, 19-8. Cannot happen. We had times where there was 3 guys watching a rebound. That can't happen. That's why I'm saying we didn't have the urgency. I think we were looking forward to Saturday night. And let me tell you, Saturday night will be the test. After Saturday night, probably on Monday morning, we will be able to discuss where this team is at and what we really need, because that's going to be a testament to who we are. I said yesterday, if CJ and Dame ended up playing, I think we would have played better because we seemed to play down a competition. This is what we did for the entire Brett Brown era, especially the last couple years, because we were a good team and we saw it. We hadn't really done much of it this year, but we kind of did it the last few games here, and I don't want to fall back into that. Hopefully we get up. Everybody is healthy for Saturday, Ben and Joe, because these are our guys. We need them in. And, if we come out here and we make a statement, we beat the Los Angeles Lakers. If we come out and play good defense and we can score the ball and lock down that 3-headed monster, if we can beat that team, it's going to make a huge statement on the rest of the NBA. Look, this game, yes, we should be mad about it, but at the same time, we also have to realize that it was the second of a back-to-back. I know it was home, so it was like, we should have won this game, but at the end of the day, we have to look moving forward, and Saturday will be our hugest test of the season. That will tell us really, where we are at. Those are just my thoughts. Let me know all your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
Perfect.